I guess I have a very entrepreneurial mind. If I'm gonna do something, I always do it properly. I saw there was a shift in trends. People were moving away from things like cupcakes and cookies to like healthy eating. So I pivoted and rebranded into first organic meal delivery company.
She doesn't just build brands, she breathes life into them. Gina Tash is a force of creativity, vision, and relentless drive.
Do you feel like you can create a piece of content now and say, I think that's going to go viral?
We can tell within like the first 5 seconds. We can look at something that we're creating or even pitching to a client and we're like, oh, that's gonna do well.
She's mastered the art of reinvention and built her influence not just on success, but on authenticity. Her story is one of resilience, risk, and radical possibility.
What do you think your X factor is?
I think it is our friendship. The whole reason behind this kind of project, behind this brand, is that we really try to make therapy and mental health as relatable as possible and making other women like us feel like they're not alone.
Hi, Gina. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So, Gina, my therapist says started from ground zero and you've built it into one of the most amazing followings out there, like on the internet, over 100 million impressions a month. But take us back to the very beginning. Before you even started that, you were going to be a chef, right?
Yes.
So tell us, like, how do you go from I'm going to be a chef studying at George Brown College, like pristine, like culinary school, to being a renowned influencer?
Yes. I guess it is an interesting journey.
It's definitely a pivot, as they would say.
My path has been full of pivots. I love a good pivot, but it really wasn't even kind of up to me. It all just kind of fell into my lap in the most like interesting and exciting way. And I think I owe it all to my sisters. So I have 2 sisters and we work together and we basically do everything together. So one of them, before this whole Instagram thing, before like, I guess when Instagram first came out, I became obsessed with food shows, like MasterChef and Food Network and Chopped. And we just like became so into it. That's all I would watch after work. And I would just had like a regular 9 to 5. And one of my sisters was like, you know what? You love food. You can't cook anything. Like I couldn't even make an egg. Like I literally had to rely on my boyfriends to feed me like in college.
Yes.
So like my sister was like, you should go to culinary school and like learn how to cook. It's probably a good skill to have. And for me,
You liked watching the cooking
Yeah.
shows, but did you think you liked to cook?
I was getting really into it. Like I would experiment. I would try making some things for, at home for dinner. But I would like, go to the same few recipes and like I wasn't really like
I
feeling
watching the shows. I don't like the cooking. I like the eating.
Exactly. But because I had no confidence in being self-taught, I thought, the only way I'm going to learn if I'm going to do it properly, I'm going to go to school for it. Like, I'm just not going to be learning by YouTube or whatever, like, or cookbooks. I didn't have enough faith in myself to be able to teach myself how to do it. So I decided to just learn from the basics, like, properly. So I enrolled in culinary school and it was amazing. It was the hardest thing I've ever done because it surprised me in so many ways. It's the most physically taxing thing you have to do, but you also have to be creative and think on your feet. So all these things that I saw on these TV shows, I ended up experiencing and living, and it was the most amazing years of my life. But and while in culinary school, I started a catering company. So it was me and my friend from culinary school, and we decided, I guess I have a very entrepreneurial mind because if I'm gonna do something, I always do it properly. I create a proper brand. I start to grow it. It's like it kind of grew into a legitimate catering company before I even graduated. We were getting orders to do Christmas party caterings for like corporate clients and parties, and we were baking a lot. It was like a very traditional kind of catering business. And then after graduating culinary school, I decided I saw there was a shift in trends. And I saw that people were moving away from things like cupcakes and cookies to like healthy eating and, meal prep, things like that. Like CrossFit was really picking up, and like it was like the beginning of all those trends. So I pivoted and rebranded into Canada's like first organic meal delivery company.
Okay.
So I was doing that for a few years, and it was going really, really well. I was working like 7 days a week. I was like the cooking, the planning, the client facing. It was a startup. So it was like I was doing everything myself with the help of my family. And at that time, my baby sister started this Instagram account with her friend, kind of for fun, for jokes, anonymously, not thinking it would kind of lead anywhere, but kind of just like wanting to.
My therapist's account. So it started from day one, branded that account.
Yes. From day one, they named it My Therapist Says because we were all in therapy at the time as like, young women in our 20s trying to figure out life. And we needed all the help. So she especially wanted to kind of make therapy relatable and more, not
the humor and satire that we sort of know the account as today. Did it start that way?
Yes. From day one, it hasn't changed. Like the language hasn't changed and the concept. And we, all four of us had this, group chat going, and we would just be kind of making fun of each other, roasting each other, and like making all these jokes in the group chat. And eventually we were like, this is really funny. We should just put it on the internet and see what happens. Yeah. And, it was the very beginning of Instagram. Not a lot of people were doing anything like that. So we were kind of embarrassed to put our names on it. We were like, we're just going to do it anonymously. We don't want our friends to make fun of us. What if it's just like nothing? It's just like 5 of our friends will see this. But it kind of blew up within like 3 months.
Wow.
It went viral so quickly. And eventually 6 months in, it turned into a real business. And my sister, she was like only 22 at the time. She was like, hey, I don't really know how to set up a business. I don't really know what to do with these contracts, and people are willing to pay us money. So like, how do I go about this?
How did that happen? So, it blew up, meaning you started to get more and more followers. And then how did that turn into a business? So take us through like, how did money start to like happen? Like the monetization start?
Yes. So the same way any creator online will tell you, it hasn't changed this day. Like the kind of, you start to get a bit of a following. Yeah. It can be 5,000 followers. It could be 1 million. And eventually, in the beginning, smaller brands will reach out and they'll be like, hey, can we send you product for you to post? Or can we pay you like a couple $100 to post this? Like brands immediately start taking note of you the second you start kind of getting a little bit of traction online.
Even though you were still, the 4 of you were still anonymous, brands started reaching out, and then that just started to move forward from there.
Yes, exactly. And my sister was like, oh my God, I'm not sure what to do with all this. Like, she's the creative brains behind it, not necessarily experienced in running a business. Yeah. So, and I, at that time, was getting burnt out cooking every day and doing this whole thing, and I needed a break. So she was like, why don't you come join and like, let's make this a real business. It's going really well. We see like a future here. And we did. It like, we haven't looked back since.
Wow. So when you joined, so was there a point then when all 4 of you said like, whatever other jobs the 4 of you had, you said like, we can step away from kind of call it our day jobs?
Yeah, I'd say 2 years into doing that as like a part-time, not really taking it seriously, still relying on other means of income. We all kind of joined and saw it, being able to kind of replace all of our day jobs.
That's amazing. So at that point, or at some point before then, how did you start to sort of strategically say, now we need to like start to monetize this, right? Like things started to happen and then calls started to come in. When did, staying on the pivot theme, when did the pivot start to happen where you were like, okay, now we need to start to sort of plan this?
We still don't.
I think every entrepreneur listening now is probably saying, oh, I'm not the only one.
We've been so incredibly blessed in the sense that when you're kind of an online creator and you are kind of known in your space and you're one of the first people to do what you're doing, you never have to really go searching for business. It comes to you. So for the past 11 years, it's been coming to us,
Wow.
and we never really had to figure out how to scramble and
Yeah.
monetize or take it to the next level. Kind of the growing pains have been the hard part,
Hmm.
like figuring out delegating and hiring, these kind of, and like letting other people do things we're so used to doing ourselves because it's our baby. We're so, protective over it. And we
Yes.
feel really strange in trusting our baby in someone else's hands, or seeing if someone else can post something like the same thing we would post or whatever. Especially now, like people are very careful with what they say, what they post, and our language and our personality on the account is very authentic to who we are, and we didn't want to change that,
Hmm.
and we didn't want sponsorships to change that. So I would say we're kind of driven by our passion first, revenue second.
Great. I love that. Passion first, revenue second. Tell us a little bit more about the growing pains, because I think that any creators or building audience goes through those growing pains. So, what were some of those for you guys, and how did you navigate through them?
Honestly, I think we're still learning and navigating every day because no 2 days are the same. And for us, I guess the easiest part for us is that there's 4 of us and all of us know our roles, and all of us are kind of like, if someone's busy, we'll step in. If I want to go on vacation, there will be 3 other people that know the business that will do what I do, and vice versa with all of us. So that has been hugely helpful and helped us kind of wait to hire for as long as possible,
Hmm.
because there's already 4 members of the team that are very
You each have
capable.
distinctive roles.
Yes,
Okay.
we don't all do the same thing,
Hmm.
but big things like creative things or like campaign paid kind of stuff, we decide all together, and we still work in our group chat. So for us, that kind of stuff, like we rely on each other, but also everyone has their distinct kind of things they're responsible for,
Hmm.
which makes it much easier and smoother to operate.
Okay. And then when it came time to bring in other people to sort of
Yeah.
delegate, how did you go about making those first hires? And who was one of that? Like, what role did one of those first hires play?
Well, we kind of are always on the lookout for, I guess, fresh talent and
Mhm.
people that are passionate. It's always been people that are passionate about what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Because we have such an amazing loyal audience,
Mhm.
it really kind of builds that kind of innate fandom where people that really love following us, they love our content, they also love to be involved in it. I would say 90% of our audience are people like us, are young women, girls, now I guess older women that feel the same way. They go through the same struggles and they feel like they could be our friends. They're like the same kind of people. So they feel very passionate about it as a project the same way we do. So they will very often just kind of slide in our DMs or send an email and be like, I would love to work with you guys. This is what I do. I would love to work with you guys. This is what I can do.
Mhm.
So there's been a lot of team members that have come and gone that were in that exciting, I guess, stage in their careers where they wanted to get into social media. They wanted to be involved in something cool, something they really, really love as, I guess, a follower, as an audience member, not and then being able to work in that same kind of industry, I guess, is exciting for people. So we really look for that passion for our brand first. And I feel like that kind of makes the best employees because they already speak our language, they already know our messaging, and they already think like us.
Yeah, they understand the brand,
Yeah.
just instinctively at that point because they've been
They're
following and
passionate.
yeah, living and
They were
breathing.
raised with it.
Yes. Yeah,
So
definitely. So I think for any sort of creator and anyone building a brand, uh, probably when they think of brand partners, some of the marquee partners that you
mhm.
guys have worked with, when I think of Gucci, Valentino, the Met Gala,
Yeah.
those would be dream partners to work
Yeah.
with. What was that like working with some of those brands?
Well, let's just say each one of those offers is super exciting to us. I mean, every time someone like that emails us, we're like, oh my God, is this real? There have been some not real ones. So you have to be careful. But every time we get those kind of jobs, it's always just, a pinch me moment.
I bet.
It doesn't get old.
Hmm.
And it's just, we're just four girls living a dream.
Yeah, I bet. So speaking of pinch me moments, there's currently a TV deal in the works, right?
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
There's not much I can say yet.
Okay.
But yes, it has been in development for a while, and it is definitely a passion project.
Hmm.
And we're hoping to kind of, create the kind of show we ourselves are missing in the available TV skills. So
Can you say if it will be a reality show
no,
or
it's not reality.
okay.
It's like a proper fiction.
It'll be like, should I be going to my therapist?
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
It's written by my sister, who's an incredible writer. She also
that's wonderful.
wrote most of our book.
Uh-huh.
So it's based on that. So it's just it's not reality. Though we have been offered a lot of reality too.
I'm sure. And that would be very cool as well. Is there a reason you've not done any of the reality?
Well, we haven't. So the beauty of this business is that it allows us to actually live in any city that we want and not be in the office every day.
Yeah.
So that kind of allowed us to live in four different places. And we're not in the same city. We don't have our one HQ.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to film a reality TV show when you're all so spread out and have such separate lives outside of this.
Yeah.
So it's just and also we haven't really wanted to take that opportunity yet. We wanted to kind of really focus on our business and focus on our private lives and keep them private because you'll notice we don't post ourselves a lot. We don't really advertise ourselves as personalities quite as much as, a lot of other creators do.
Yes.
Because we kind of just want to keep the focus on the account.
Yes. You guys have created so much viral content. And now you've moved beyond just my therapist says into, other new sort of accounts and other new verticals.
Yeah.
How have you figured out, do you feel like you can create a piece of content or look at a piece of content now and say, I think that's going to go viral?
Yes.
How do you know that?
We can tell within the first 5 seconds. We can look at something that we're creating or even pitching to a client and we're like, oh, that's going to do well. And, a lot of times it's actually frustrating because brands don't always see it the way we do.
Yes.
They'll be like, oh, we like this piece of content. And then we have to gently be like, okay, I mean, that's your choice, but we feel like this one would perform better because we know our audience. We know the internet. We know what would do well on our account. So it's like a muscle. You really train it over time. And we've had so much experience at this point that we can tell right away.
And is that because you know your audience so well? You know how they're going to react. You know, you have such a history now of engagement and track record.
Yes.
Does that translate into other audiences? Like when you look at other accounts or look at other creators, do you look at them and say, they should be doing this type of content?
Yes. Or but you're like, ads are really other creators, even other brands, a lot of times we'll consult brands on what they should do for their social media strategy and how to make their content more shareable, more, viral. And at this point, we're so plugged into the internet culture. We know all the trends. We know what's hot. We know where it's going next, kind of. We can almost predict these kind of things. So we really have become kind of experts at the specific thing that we do.
And is it related to pop culture? Is that the vertical that you're so plugged into?
Not necessarily.
Mhm.
I mean, yes, we are very plugged into pop culture, and that's kind of what our audience loves. But it's also we're able to kind of use that muscle in every other vertical.
Yes.
Because it's once you can do it in one vertical, I feel like you can do it in other things as well.
That's amazing. That's an amazing muscle. Pulling back from that expertise that you've honed, if I'm a new creator or I'm trying to build an audience, what advice would you give to somebody that might be listening that is in that stage of building their accounts and their brand?
I mean, it would depend actually on their niche or on the messaging that they want to put out there. But some of the obvious common things I would say relate to everyone. Be as authentic. I know everyone says this, but authenticity online really is the most important thing. people want to see like your face talking to them. They want to see like a talking head almost.
Yeah.
They don't want to see a perfectly manicured, curated content. That they're, I guess, tiring from the millennial perfection.
Mhm.
And it's something I struggle with daily because as an elder millennial myself, I just feel like I want content to be perfect. I want everything to look perfect. I
Yeah.
want everything to be almost sterile. But younger audiences now, they don't want that. They don't relate to that. They want to see the mess. They want to see the behind the scenes. They want to see the real you and your real life, however messy that looks. So a lot of times content creators think they have to be perfect to do it, but that's not the case. I feel like they have to just be okay with showing everything.
Yes.
And that's kind of the hardest part, being that vulnerable online.
Yes. Wow. So your husband is also a very high profile content creator and podcaster. Scott Clary has his own very successful podcast. So you guys are very much a power couple. How does that dynamic work together in what you both do? And how do you balance that profile that you both have?
Well, first of all, not husband yet, but
Okay. Important clarifications.
Yes. Let's not give him credit yet.
But we're going to have an off-camera discussion about that.
But I feel like it's actually the most incredible and fun thing to be able to do this with your significant other. Not only am I lucky enough to do this with my sisters and my, close friend, like your family, but I also get to do it with my partner,
Yeah.
even though we don't work together on like day to day.
Yes.
And we're not exactly doing the same thing. Like he doesn't work for me, I don't work for him, but we're doing the same we're in the same industry. We're doing the same kind of things. So we're able to really bounce ideas off each other and like really help each other with whatever the other one needs, because his strong suits are not my strong suits and my strong suits are not his. So we're really able to be that like perfect combination, that team that really knows this space, this industry.
Yes, you guys both know this space. My goodness. Nice. Like so much ease. Yeah. So much fun. I can only imagine.
So we can travel together. We can take content together. We can we can speak on panels together.
Yes.
We can do this kind of stuff together,
Yes.
It's a lot more fun because we're able to actually grow together as opposed to spending time and growing apart, which is, a relationship issue a lot of people come across,
Yeah.
especially after being together for a long time. If you're working in different industries or if one partner is like always at home and like you're not speaking the same language, I think it would be difficult. I really love that we speak the same language and we're able to discuss anything work related and really help each other.
Yeah. In the real estate industry, we have a lot of partners that work together, and they say a very similar thing, right? That they may go off and, work with different buyers or sellers during the day, but like just that like being able to be in the same industry together, there's definitely a bond there.
Had better than what?
Yeah, exactly. So we have a lot of that in the real estate industry, and it's a very much a positive. So Gina, I love my therapist says, like I love it on my feed. It makes me laugh out loud. I show it to my husband like daily when something comes up and I'm like, this is hilarious. But I have to admit, what I love even more is my puppy says. How did you guys come up with my puppy says? Well, probably thinking like that. It's so obvious. I mean, people are obsessed with their dogs, but like that, my puppy says is amazing.
It's just like, as we have a lot of spin-off accounts, we have a lot of spin-off brands. So I feel like each one of those was kind of that aha moment where we see that like, the memes we post with puppies do really, really well. Or like the memes we post with, like bestie.
Yeah, my bestie says,
That's a really popular one too, because like friendship themes are very important and they do really well. So like I feel like every kind of spin-off that we do is because we've noticed that like that content performs the best, and we see that it would really resonate with our audience.
Yes.
And most of our audience is women that have their dogs, they love their dogs, they love their pets. So they love to send like, cute puppy pictures to each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. So funny. Who you mentioned your sister is the creative one. I mean, I think all four of you,
No, all four of us.
or all four of you are creative.
But our friend Nicole and my sister, they're creative in different ways. But it's kind of most of our content is a brainchild of four of us having the same group chat for years.
And is that like, I guess early days versus now is probably a little bit different, but like, is it really the four of you just sort of brainstorming content?
Yes. So Nicole will she'll be like, hey, this is like, going viral right now, or
Yeah.
this client wants this kind of theme addressed. These are the assets, these are the pictures. Which one do we like best? We will vote on them, and then we'll vote on the caption. We'll vote on every part of that. We'll kind of come up with,
There's four of you. What happens if there's a tie?
no, there's never you do it. That's why it works so well, like the three of us can like one picture and then one, like the majority wins. Or we'll kind of be like,
But
hey,
there's four. What happens if there's a tie?
it's never happened.
It never happens that it's 2 and 2.
No, I feel like we're very like in tune with what, but also if someone is like, a lot of people times will change our mind.
Right.
For example, if I say this picture works best, and then my sister will be like, but I actually think this, I see what you're saying, but I think for this particular thing, this one works best because, and then we'll just like kind of talk it out, argue it out. And then I'll be like, oh wait, actually I see your point. Even though this as a picture, as a standalone asset, I think it's so funny, but it works best with the caption, like, with a different caption, or this picture works, like, it just, we work it out.
Yeah. I mean, clearly that dynamic of like sibling, family, friends, like you guys obviously have figured that out. I'm sure like there's a whole like dynamic there that like would be super fun to follow along on that group chat.
Yeah, it would be scary.
It would be scary. That group chat could be a whole live feed. That could probably be a viral account all on its own.
That's how it started. I mean, that's how it started. How it's still going.
Oh, that's super awesome. That would be like really fun. When you think about like what's next, like we touched on the television deal. Like, is there like a sky's the limit for My Therapist Says? Like, does it just like keep growing forever and ever?
I mean, hopefully. So far, it's really fun. It's allowed us to focus on our individual passion projects and, kind of spearhead different avenues they can go. So a lot of us are working on different side projects, and we'll see which one, really takes off, which one works best. But I mean, we're full of ideas, and as long as our amazing audience is still there for it and there's demand, why not?
I love it. I love it. Gina, we call this podcast X Factor because I believe everyone has their own sort of special X Factor.
It's a great name.
Thank you. What do you think your X Factor is?
I think it is our friendship. The whole reason behind this kind of project, behind this brand, is that we really try to make therapy and mental health as relatable as possible, and making other women like us feel like they're not alone. Because I feel like in this day and age of everyone being so plugged in, so in tune with what everyone else is doing and posting, people still feel very, very lonely. And our whole kind of passion behind it is to make other women feel less lonely and feel like they're not the only ones going through things. And that's how, we haven't changed the format of our brand for this reason, because creating those relatable, shareable memes that, other women can share with their group chats, or even like with their whatever significant others, it makes them feel less alone, and we can kind of verbalize their thoughts in a very concise and clever way.
That's awesome. Well, you guys are like kicking ass. It is amazing to see such like wonderful, entrepreneurial, strong women out there doing what you guys are doing. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. It's been just a delight getting to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
You're very welcome.